We'll get started here. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip board meeting. Today is December 18th, 2023, and we'll call this meeting in order at 7:32 p.m. Can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Dalzell?
Here.
Trustee Juarez-Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin? Here. Trustee Murphy?
Here.
Trustee Navas-Barza is absent. Trustee Peretta?
Here.
Mayor Ryan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, officers' reports, starting with mine. A couple of quick notes. Obviously, we look a lot of things coming up in the new year. Maybe three. I'll list three of the upcoming 2024 State of Illinois legislative agenda. A couple of things that they're talking about in Springfield. One is going to be they have a bill that they're talking about the electronic publication of notices. This proposal would allow municipalities to fulfill any statutory mandated newspaper posting requirement by providing notice on the municipality's website and on a publicly available searchable online database operated independently from the municipality. This would allow municipalities to fulfill any statutory mandated newspaper posting requirement by providing notice on our website. Next was the Open Meetings Act authority to conduct remote meetings. This proposal would permit public officials to conduct a remote meeting without the issuance of a gubernatorial or Illinois Department of Public Health disaster declaration. Specifically, this proposal would allow the chief elected and appointed officials of a public body to determine if an in-person meeting would pose a risk to health or safety of the members of the public or the public body, or conducting a remote meeting is in the best interest of the public or the public body. The General Assembly should allow, and it's the opinion of the Illinois Municipal League, is that the General Assembly should allow local officials to determine the necessity of an in-person meeting. This shift to be more current with modern technology will increase participation, transparency, and citizen access to municipal government. And then last, the municipal immunity from liability for cyber attacks, meaning that the impact of data breaches on municipalities and the liability the organization incurs can have an enormous effect on communities. Trends suggest that public bodies will continue to be the targets of attacks and data breaches. The smaller unit of government, the less prepared they may be to deal with the effects. Making municipal governments liable does not punish the criminal, instead it punishes the municipality and its taxpayers. Additionally, costs from a liability lawsuit would only put additional financial pressure on municipal budgets, threatening the critical government services that taxpayers depend on for their health, safety, and well-being. Again, it's the opinion of the Illinois Municipal League that the General Assembly should remove the liability of municipalities when cyber attack occurs and ensure critical local services are protected. Next, I got a letter today, Chief Szynski, in reference to fire department. It's a letter of appreciation. Dear Mayor, I'm writing this letter as a thank you to all the paramedics, firefighters, and police officers who for months came to our home because of 911 calls from my ill husband. Ron, I don't want to use his last name publicly, but Ron died unfortunately November 5th, 2023. Ron was suffering from Alzheimer's, congestive heart failure, and COPD. These responding professionals showed compassion, professionalism, kindness, and complete understanding of our situation. For that, I'm truly grateful, and I will always keep first responders in our prayers. I honestly don't know what happened that day, as my mind seemed to be a complete blank because of the sudden critical event. What I do know, though, is Ron spent his final moments in your good hands. Thank you, and God bless all of you at the Village of Alsip. Susan. So, very nice letter, and thank you, Chief. If you can share that with the men and women, thank you. So, first on my agenda this evening, I had a request for a consensus to have the village attorney amend the ordinance that increases the number of Class C liquor licenses by one for Burrito Jalisco at 11950 South Cicero, Alsip, who is requesting the village support of retail sales of liquor and Latino-owned food and drink products, including piñatas, etc., for parties. The Class C license shall not authorize the Class C license shall authorize the sale of retail of alcoholic liquor on specified premises, but shall not permit consumption thereon. No licensee under this subsection shall be permitted to sell a single container sales of beer less than 1 quart, and annual fee is set in our license section yet too. In your packets, we did include a memo from Burrito Jalisco with a floor plan that the board had asked for. And it just says also that thank you for your inquiries about our future business. Burrito Jalisco Market. Again, this is going to be more or less a small convenience store. As you know, Burrito Jalisco has partnered with the village since 2002. During the last few years, our company has had a lot of change. We recently have been focusing on improving the efficiency of our operation to continuously evolve and increase our sales, customer traffic, and service. To accomplish this goal, we want to separate our takeout functions from our main restaurant. This would mean moving the takeout from the north end of the building to the south end. This improvement is to help the performance within the restaurant. Additionally, this will alleviate pressure from our primary kitchen by having a separate section strictly focused on our takeout food production. This process will allow us to increase our attention to quality and service. As of today, on average, about 20% of our sales comes from takeout food, and less than 30% of our total sales comes from alcoholic beverages. If approved for this license, we estimate about 5% of our total sales will come from the alcoholic beverages every week that they're planning to market for retail purposes. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to grow our small family business. We look forward to hearing from you. Please contact us as needed, Burrito Jalisco team. Was there any questions on that, trustees? No? Next, we had the approval to increase the number of Class FG liquor licenses from 10 to 11 for the new Quick Run convenience store that's being built at 11458 South Cicero, Alsip, Illinois. The Alsip Village Board majority gave a 3-2 affirmative consensus to create a liquor license at the February 6, 2023 Village Board meeting. Again, a Class FG license shall authorize the sale of shall authorize the sale at retail of alcoholic liquor and its original package for consumption off premises. The retail sale of beer and wine only for consumption on premises. A Class FG license shall only be issued for mini-marts being part of a gasoline service station. The following specifications shall be met. We've got criteria for that more or less through the building department. And then last was approval of a Class FG liquor license for Quick Run convenience store at 11548 South Cicero. License is contingent on operations at the location being subject to all permits, inspections, and approvals required by law. In other words, they can't use this license until they've met all the building department criteria. Also, board majority again gave a 3-2 affirmative consensus to create a liquor license at the February 6, 2023 Village Board meeting. The reason I was asking for this now, trustees, there is active construction at this location, but we have been told by the state even yet too, there's a major backlog right now of getting these licenses processed through the state and whatnot, and they asked if they can apply for this now, and again, nothing gets used until it meets Rogers' qualifications, through the building department, I should say. And that's all I had. Clerk Harding?
Thank you, Mayor.
Clerk's report?
I have the approval of the October 2023 IDOT motor fuel allotment in the amount of $67,339.84. Approval of the December 4th, 2023 board meeting minutes. Presentation and approval of the December 11th, 2023 committee meeting minutes. Presentation and approval of the November 2023 FOIA report. And presentation and approval of the November 2023 IDOT motor fuel allotment in the amount of $79,056.17. And that is all I had, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We have the attorney's report. We have Mike Kanker with us. Mike?
No report, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Engineers report, Jeff Agan.
Thank you, Mayor. The Costner Avenue resurfacing from 123rd to 127th Street, that's the resurfacing project scheduled for the spring. That contract was formally awarded to Iroquois Paving last Wednesday through IDOT, so that come spring when the weather breaks, that project will kick off. And then also earlier this year, the village was awarded a $50,000 grant for lead water service line inventory. So we've been working with the water department and reviewing historical records to determine the number of lead water services within the village. And so far, no record of any lead services have been found. However, there are a number of homes that within the village that don't have records on hand. So we'll need to further investigate those. So this week there'll be postcards that are going to get sent out to approximately 3,000 homes with instructions to access an online survey which will help determine the type of water service pipe material that runs from the street to the home. So all that's involved, the postcards will look something similar to this, only smaller. And they'll have instructions on there, and all that's involved is going down by your water meter and scratching the pipe with a key, taking a few pictures, and then there's an online link that's within the postcard, and you basically send those pictures to the online survey, and then we'll be able to then further figure out and document what type of service is indeed in the home.
Okay.
So we're just asking that if a resident does receive one of these postcards, that they complete the service within the next. Complete the survey within the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, Jeff. Public forum. Did anyone in the audience wish to address the board this evening? None? Okay, then we'll go to our standing committee reports. Start with Finance and IT. Trustee McGlohorn.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I request for approval of a list of payroll dated December 15th, 2023, totaling $470,695.81. Next, I request for approval of a list of accounts payable dated December 18th, 2023. From the recap, General Fund, $394,869.38. Road and Bridge, $76,293.20. Storm Sewer, $4,330 even. MFT, $26,059.36. Pulaski TIF, $3,555 even. Health insurance, $227,057.31. Water and sewer, $619,127.05. Sanitary sewers, $432.30. Heritage complexes, $102,969.85. IPRF grant expense, $1,210.25. Retiree health insurance, $57,223.44, for a grand total all funds of $1,513,127.14. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to our Fire Committee report. Trustee Murphy.
I have a discussion of disposal of old SCBA equipment and power saws as discussed on December 11th. Any cutoff saws and chainsaws that other village departments don't want will be placed on the Office of the State Fire Marshal Equipment Exchange Program to go to a needy department. The SCBA equipment also to be placed on the OSFM Equipment Exchange Program. Did anybody have any questions about this? None? Okay.
It's the Office of the State Fire Marshal. No.
Do we know if any department heads wanted any of the saws or anything, Chief?
We haven't got our one engine still out of service, so when that one comes back, we'll grab those 2 saws, and we're going to pick the best 2 for us, and then offer it to Mikey, Roger, and Danny first.
Okay.
Let them take their pick. Anything they don't want, we'll get rid of.
Next, I have a motion to approve to replace the motor in ambulance 2042 at a cost not to exceed $11,336. I have a request for a consensus asking if the position of secretary/administrative assistant to the Alsip Fire Chief should be represented by a collective bargaining unit.
Yeah, we can address that right now real quick. I had one of the trustees ask if that could be considered. I don't know if that's still the case, but we can take a consensus on that now and see if we're going to pursue that.
Isn't that something that should be bargained for?
It is. Thank you.
So why would we do that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I just want to get that. Thank you for bringing it up, because that's why I wanted that. So I was kind of getting at. So at this, in other words, if you want to pursue that, that's what I was saying with a consensus. If we want to pursue that, we have to kind of stop at that. In other words, if the board...
We can't proceed tonight.
Exactly.
We have
I
to
can't go any further
negotiate
if
with
you
you.
want to do it, because we'll have to pursue that at that. So that's what I'm saying, a consensus would determine if we're going to follow that route or not. In other words, I couldn't deny a trustee if they asked for this to be considered, but the trustee understands the repercussions of it yet, too. So that's why I'm saying if I take a consensus on it right now, we know whether or not that we're putting this off to the table for right now then, too.
You can take the consensus.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to ask for a consensus right now, so we know.
Okay, so we're doing a consensus, asking if the position of the secretary/administrative assistant to the Alsip Fire Chief should be represented by a bargaining unit,
Right,
correct?
right.
Okay. All right, trustee Dalzell?
No.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin?
No.
Trustee Murphy?
No.
Trustee Navas Barza is absent, sorry. Trustee Ferretta?
Yes.
All right, you, over 3-1 is a no for that consensus.
Fine. So at least we understand what's on the table, so, okay. That's fine, trustee. Go ahead, trustee Murphy.
Next, I have approval of a position, description, and wage compensation as the secretary/administrative assistant to the Alsip Fire Chief. Next, I have the presentation and approval of the Fire Prevention Bureau report for November 2023.
Trustee, I'd like to go back to one of the
I was
items.
just going to say, let's go back to number 4.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, go ahead. So I was going to address
Well, I
something
was
else.
just for clarity's sake then, because we have Plan A and Plan B, and since Plan A is the one that specifies would be represented by AFSCME, is it by default then are we going with Plan B?
Yes.
Which I'm fine with.
Okay.
I
No,
like,
that's why I wanted to clear that up.
yeah,
which way
no,
we're
I
going.
like the job description and the wording better in B.
Okay.
Do you want anything modified in the agenda stating Plan B?
No.
Just so I
No,
know.
it
Okay.
was just something
Okay.
clerical for us.
Okay.
What I would like to go back to, and Chief, I'd like to address the bids that we got to replace the engine on the ambulance.
Yes.
So we got 3 bids. 2 were from Ford dealers. 1 was from an independent repair shop that we're very familiar with. However, You know, one thing I've learned in business especially, too, is when you offer, especially for this kind of money, this is over $11,000, when you offer a quote, a bid on something, or at least get a quote on something, you want to see a little bit of detail in there and stuff yet, too. And personally, well, all the bids were pretty competitive. They're all within a couple $100 of each other. The first bid that we saw for, I don't really want to use names out loud, because that's not fair to the dealerships, but the first bid was $11,429. It looks like a good bid, but, you know, basically it's just giving you it's just telling you what kind of vehicle we have, a 2018 E450, the VIN number, and that's the end of it. It doesn't tell us what kind of motor we're getting. It doesn't tell us anything about what we're going to buy.
It's the same motor that Ford offers in the ambulance that we already have. We can't put a different motor in there.
Understood, but I'm saying it's assumed. That's my point.
Right.
It's not in writing, yeah.
The second quote for $11,335, again, you know, if they're going to remove and replace the assembly with a long block engine with an installation kit, you know, obviously the fluid, gaskets, and so forth, 1 year engine replacement, 3-year unlimited miles, commercial application, okay. Great. Again, doesn't even tell us what we're buying. You know, it's like we assume that's what we're getting. The last bid was a couple $100 more, but again, from a Ford dealer, and it says, you know, a description of what the problem was, but that they're actually going to install a Motorcraft remanufactured 6.8 SOHC V10 engine with a 3-year warranty, unlimited mileage warranty. He's telling you what the labor is and everything else. And I don't want to be picky here, but he's at least telling you what you're getting. You're getting a remanufactured Motorcraft engine, exactly like you're saying what goes in this thing. And it was only a few $100 more, but I'm just saying I don't want to go on assumptions, and that's what I'm saying. When you look at a bid like this, I want to see a whole, like, what am I getting? I don't think we should have to assume. It's just me, and the board can do what they like, but that's just me. I like to know what I'm buying, especially for $11,000.
Why does the first quote got tax in it?
I'm sorry, Trust, I couldn't hear
Why does the first quote have tax in it?
you. Didn't notice either,
I
sir.
didn't notice it either. We don't pay taxes, so I know I can
But,
tell you that
I mean,
much.
that quote is inclusive of the tax, $687 and change.
Yeah, we don't pay tax. And all three of the vendors we do service with, so they know not to charge us taxes,
Yeah.
so.
And thank you, Trustee Dalzell. I didn't notice that. And the one bid I am talking about did not include tax either, so.
Right.
But again, it's the choice of the board. If you wish to go with, based on what I'm seeing in the agenda, it would be the second quote from the independent dealership.
No?
Would it?
If you take,
11,336.
If you take the taxes off that one would probably be lower at that
Probably be
point.
the lowest, it looks like.
Yeah. I didn't catch that.
I didn't say, and, I mean, even though it would then become the lowest, it doesn't mention anything at all in terms of what type of potential warranty we'd be getting with it.
Well, one other company did say 3 years as well.
Right. and-
But what I'm looking at is the other quotes didn't mention if it was a remanufactured engine or not. So we don't know. We're assuming.
Right. And all three vendors, we are getting the same motor that came out of it. It is a Ford motor, and it is a 3-year warranty, the exact same thing as a manufacturer. It's just not specified in the quotes. That's the only difference.
Okay, so if they were to truly just take out the taxes against the 11,429, they were showing $687 in tax. Roughly, this is like $10,741.
Right.
So he would actually have certainly the low bid,
If-
but through a Ford dealer, but with an assumed, I don't know what kind of motor he's put, in other words, I know it's the same size and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing, but is a true Motorcraft product, what is any idea?
We can find out for sure.
Okay.
We can, if you guys want to approve it based on a Ford manufactured motor with the warranty and all that, I'll get that to you before we actually do anything with it. But at least we can move forward with it. If that's approved, and then
I'm good with that if the
Yeah.
board is.
Before they do anything,
I just want to
we'll-
know that we're getting
we'll get that
a comparable
documentation.
product to the
Yeah.
to the other 4 dealers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would the board agree with that?
Does that make sense?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah,
as long as we
I'm
get
good
all
with
that
that.
in writing.
Yeah, we'll get it all writing before we do anything. If, like you say, you want to prove it, I'll get all the writing to make sure that's specify exactly the same thing with the warranties and everything.
Change this, because this was probably a different bid. It probably wasn't this one.
Right.
We're switching to that. Do you want me to change it to that amount? Or just leave it because it says not more than this amount?
Well, it won't be more than that amount, exactly.
A lot less.
You want me to just leave it?
Exactly, leave that,
Okay.
but we are going to say that contingent on this being a motorcraft remanufactured engine.
We'll make the same language as the one that does specify it.
That's what
How's
I'm
that?
saying,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We can verify that tomorrow.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're not
Yep.
getting some from the boneyard, you know.
No,
I'm-
absolutely. I totally understand. Yep, absolutely.
Mayor, did we ever find out that if we got any monetary value for the engine that's already in it?
I didn't ask Chief, was there anything, is there any value to the motor that's there?
Scrap metal, that's
Usually use
about
that
it.
as a core.
That's usually,
Yeah, they'll
exactly,
send it in and,
Battery?
probably a core like a battery, yes.
yeah.
So, in other words, you're getting this,
Yeah.
but it would help too if they put that in writing so we kind of know
Yeah.
that all the time. Not that we're looking to hack it, but, you know.
As long as they take it out, I don't care what they do with it over there, so as long as they don't send it back with us.
Okay, so we're okay with that then, that's fine. I just like the idea that last bid had a nice detail about it. I just want to know that we're getting the same thing.
Yeah,
that's all,
absolutely,
okay?
absolutely.
Thank you. Trustee Murphy, anything else?
No, sir, that's all.
Okay. Next, we have police and traffic safety. Trustee Dalzell?
Nothing for this evening's meeting, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go to Public Work and Boat Launch Committee.
I have the approval of the Public Works November 2023 monthly activity report, and that's all, sir.
Thank you. Next, Sewer and Water Committee.
No report, Mayor?
Trustees, or trustee, I will mention this afternoon, I had a meeting with our Water Commissioner, Dan Triben, and Dan, it's just so the board's aware, Dan is recommending, and I agree with him, many of the water main projects that we do, we go out kind of late in the season. Like, we just wrapped it up just recently, just before this cold weather hit, and Dan would like to get in front of some of that and stuff. So our next target area that we're looking at is going to be 116th Place from Joe Ellis to Cullen Street. And I said, Danny, you know, that's got a brand-new street on it, kind of thing yet, too. It's only a couple of years old. Where's the water main? He says, it's in the street. So what we're talking about doing is, see, you replace these lines anyway, is we're talking possibly about abandoning that line that's in the street and then basically running these through the parkways. And he was recommending the only place that we're going to have to make crosscuts are at 5 intersections, you know, and there's no way to avoid that, but we're going to have to do it. And I agreed with him. I says, you know, I don't want to cut up that whole darn street. It's only a couple of years old. But we will have to make at least 5 saw cuts on there just to make the cross connections to each intersection as we get down. But probably in January, Jeff, he's going to be talking with you about, let's get a preliminary estimate together, but that's a target area. He wants to try and get out early with that yet, too. I guess he's having a lot of problems with those lines going down there, and they don't have enough valves or something like that that's going along there at the same time. So when an area in David Estates gets affected, it affects a lot, because you turn off one valve, you just shut down half the neighborhood and stuff yet, too, so. Okay, thank you. Let's see, we'll go to Building and Health, Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I have a request for approval of the Health Department November 2023 monthly activity report. And next, I have a request for approval of the Building Department November 2023 monthly activity report. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Human Resource and Insurance, Trustee Murphy.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. I know HR is just about ready now, too. He's going to be sending out all the communications to employees and retirees about the adjustments that we had to make with the new health care insurance and stuff then, too. That's going to be going out pretty quick. Special committee reports, Economic Development Committee.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, Village Properties, Trustee McGlohan.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for approval of the Heritage November 2023 monthly activity report. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Roger, I know we were shocked recently with 515 apartments, we only had 3 vacancies. Is that still where it stands, or are we feel those getting remodeled?
They are.
Okay, good enough. But so that means we're at 100% then. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We'll go to our next item, ordinance legislation. Trustee Peretta.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a request for approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, regarding the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll go to Planning and Zoning and Licenses Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I have a request for approval of case 2023-11-R-400 for re-subdivision to realign Lot 1 and Lot 2 common lot line for the property located at 5555 West 115th Street in Alsip. Public hearing was held on Wednesday, November 22nd, with a vote of 3-2 in favor of.
You know, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I want to catch everybody in, because we had some questions at last week's meeting. I kind of did when we were talking to their engineer that was here, and maybe we can answer a couple of those real quick now, is actually the way that property is being subdivided, they're just taking a little key off of, in other words, there's two lots over there, and one is actually known as 5551, the other is 5555. So they're asking to take a little bit of the 55 land and make it part of 51's land. My concern was, I was talking to Jeff Agan about this, was water detention. In other words, if they made that parcel available for sale to anyone down the road, are they abandoning the detention? And your answer, Jeff, was they can't. They still have to stay compliant with that. So anybody that would want to build there couldn't, because they'd still are committed to it, correct?
Right. Well, they would just have to make sure whatever volume is present right now would be replaced with any new pond configurations or land planning.
Right. And Raj, go ahead. I know you had you met with the property owner.
I did have a conversation with Alan Werther from Patriot Equities. Their intention is not to sell the property. They just want to square it up. He currently has 2 mortgages on it, where he's looking in the next year or so to do some work and possibly put in a 3rd building in that far south end. He said he would be more than happy to come in and make a presentation or do at the next committee meeting via Zoom. But it wasn't that he was looking to do anything other than square up the property, and he is fully aware that he would have to come before planning and zoning with anything, and they would definitely meet any water retention. But he was looking at probably a 20 or 30,000 square foot cross dock. Is what he was focusing on at this time.
Okay.
What's a cross dock?
Basically, probably like a 30 door on each side.
Oh,
Like a transfer.
Like what's over at 3600, 127th.
okay.
And
So he would have enough space to do something like that, as long as he maintains the underground water retention and detention.
And our attorney, Mike Hancock, Mike was reminding me too, although they came in front of the board, the Plan Commission denied a special use for trucking back in the day, and should they ever come that way again, they'd still have to come back and ask for it again then too.
Correct,
so.
and that's kind of where he's at now, is with squaring this up. That's one of the things that planning and zoning did mention to him.
Mike, is that still a special use though too, like a cross dock like that?
Yeah, truck storage and repair is special use.
No, this is just for transferring freight. That's what
Well,
It
it's a-
basically,
yeah,
it's
it's
dealing with,
yeah, it's still a truck terminal, right? No repair,
Yeah,
no
it's-
repair, that's what I'm
it's,
saying, okay.
yeah,
So he'd
truck
still have to
terminal.
come back and get a special use
Logistics
anyway.
center, it's a truck terminal.
Right.
You got to have a special use.
Also, I'll share with the board and Mike as well too. I just got an email just Friday, I think it was, on that property. They just had Homer Tree out there on that wooded property at 5900 to 116th Street, and that is not going to be, I originally, remember we thought it was going to be, it's logistics, but it's actually a company that's only going to have like 4 doors. So it's going to have the frequency of traffic that we originally thought.
Maybe he's changed it, maybe,
Yeah.
I'll reach out to him, because I know he was originally thinking about 20 doors, but
Yeah,
maybe that has changed.
I'll send you the email that I got, and it was from their attorney, and he said, no, they're going to actually build, it's beautiful spec building, but they're going to build for an actual company usage, not necessarily traffic and stuff like we originally thought, which is great.
It's great for everybody.
Yeah, I drove past that over the weekend. It's Homer
huge
Tree is amazing. After there had like 500,000 trees in there and stuff, and it's gone. I mean, you can actually see from the Worth Township Highway garage all the way through the ball hockey rink now and stuff. Then too, it's amazing all the way through there. So, but anyway, we got a rendering of the building they want to put up. It looks absolutely beautiful and stuff yet too. Nice store, like a nice. What we used to call in the glass business, like a wet glaze look, where it's just all glass on the corner of the building and stuff then too, and it looks pretty cool and stuff yet too, so. All right, I'm sorry, trustee, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to catch us with that, that's all, so. Go ahead, with number 2.
Okay, next is a request for approval of an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the use and operation of a beer garden for a portion of the property located at 11525 South Pulaski in Alsip. And finally, a request for approval of a list of licenses dated November 27th, 2023 through December 8th of 2023. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Did anyone have any presentations, petitions, or communications they wanted to share?
Mayor, that special use permit, did that go through planning and zoning or anybody to review that
For which one?
for the beer garden?
Yes, it was approved. I thought we had that,
5-1? Okay, thank you.
was it 5-1? Okay. I wanted to share one, just a board, so you just know, we're going to have our annual employee holiday breakfast next month. We usually do this after the holidays because different personnel might be absent during the holiday week. So Wednesday, Wednesday,
January 10th.
January 10th. Yeah, I had 12 on here for some reason, but yeah, January 10th, from 8:30 to 11 o'clock, and certainly you're welcome to join us if you like and stuff here too. But we'll be here in the boardroom for breakfast that morning. So did anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
I would like to remove letter N.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion then to establish the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 2 to establish consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza is absent. Trustee Prada?
Yes.
Motion carries to establish consent agenda.
Thank you. Can I get a motion then to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, before I do that, item L, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip, Cook County, Illinois, regarding the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act, will now be known as Ordinance 2023-12-1. Roll call number 3 to approve consent agenda. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez Mendoza is absent. Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza is absent. Trustee Peretta?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to the item N that was removed. This is the approval of an ordinance granting a special use permit to allow the use and operation of a beer garden for a portion of the property located at 11525 South Pulaski Road, Alsip, Illinois. Before I take any questions, did I have a motion and a second to approve this the way as it's written? All right, then we'll have a question then from Trustee McLaughlin. You pull this?
I pulled it for a separate vote, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Did we have a motion and a second to approve this then? No? Then this is going to die for lack of a motion. Does anyone have any unfinished business? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everyone enjoy your Christmas holiday. Hope everything goes well. And our next meeting is going to be a committee meeting on December 27th, on a Wednesday. So, thank you. Have a great night. We'll adjourn this meeting. Time now, we'll go with 8:12.